Hello, and thank you for joining us with our Film Independent Presents program of Selegna Sol. I'm Kate Mason, the programming and events producer at Film Independent, and I'm so happy to be joined by director Anouk Moyaux. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for the
Thank you.
invitation.
I'm so happy that we're getting to share your film with our audiences online. I saw the film first at the LA Festival of Movies, and I was just so charmed by it. I think it's so beautiful, and I don't know, like it's got that gorgeous romantic melancholy that I just really loved. And so I'm sure people will have a lot of questions about kind of you and the process. And, I love personally something that is on the line of documentary and narrative. But, people are always curious about what exactly they're watching. So do you want to tell us a little bit about just how you started making the film?
So I met the three characters a very long time ago when I was in LA for a artistic residency because I used to be more an artist than a filmmaker, and I made this transition with this film, kind of. And so I met them, and it was like I don't know, wonderful friendship since the beginning. And like few years after, I was like, I don't know, I want to film this. I want to film this energy. I want to, and I was very, also very, I don't know, it was incredible to come to LA and to discover LA by those eyes, by those people that
Hmm.
were living another kind of life and in northeast LA in kind of Mexican community, and I enter LA for the first time with them. I mean with this vision and with this point of view kind of, and it was very precious to me, and that's why I had the desire to make this film. And so I met them in 2016. I started to shoot the film in 2021. I wanted to start during the COVID, but the COVID came and I couldn't come and blah, blah, blah. But so, yeah, that was like a very long process too of like, yeah, of also a friendship with them, a very long time going back and forth to see them. And I like to say that the film, in some way, was a kind of a pretext to yeah, to keep coming. And otherwise, you meet like incredible people in some country, and you're not going every year, no, because it's like
Hmm.
expensive. Because it's like you're like, oh, I have my friends there, and I don't know. Arts, in some way, is a way to I don't know, to continue those relationships, to yeah. So yeah, that was basically the beginning of it.
Hmm.
And after I had the chance to, I don't know why, but I subscribed as a member in analog laboratory in Marseille.
Hmm.
And I don't know why I wanted to do this. It was like very, I've never done any photo or any kind of like processing with the chemicals. I don't know what, but I don't know.
Hmm.
I was curious, and I met there very incredible filmmaker, experimental filmmakers, and they taught me everything kind of. Because I didn't know how to. I don't know. I didn't know anything. I didn't know the workflow. I didn't know how to make a film in
Hmm.
some way. So they helped me a lot. We had also a lot of camera in common or tools, or and so it was more possible. I don't know. It was more. It made it possible in some way to be in this collective too. It pushed
Hmm.
me, like I had like all the solutions to do it in some way in analog, but I had the tools, so I
Hmm.
had no excuse to start.
Yeah.
And so the shooting was very, very small, just me, a camera assistant, because I'm filming, the cinematographer of my own film. And yeah, it was basically this. And the characters, they were working, so we had to make the film in those very special moment, like at 5 p.m., 7, 8 p.m.
Hmm.
And some people told me, oh, it's crazy, it has always this kind of golden hour look. And I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, but it is because he was working all the day and we had to shoot in those hours.
Yeah.
um, but I like it in some way. I like this, yeah, golden hour moment.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it was very small, very, very, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I guess I'm curious, especially about how you thought about like the role of a narrative in it, because in some ways it's impressionistic, and then, you do feel like there is this story about immigration, and you have a built-in kind of like anticipation with the naturalization ceremony and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if like, did you set out to find some kind of narrative? Did you find it and then want to like not make it the only thing? Because I think it wouldn't be the beautiful way that it is if you had been so hyper focused on a narrative. So I'm just curious, yeah, how you kind of thought about that.
So it was, at the beginning, I wanted to do a film about friendship, about this
Hmm.
friendship with those three people.
Hmm.
And so when I came with this idea, like a very simple idea, like just trying to capture, yeah, this neighborhood too was important for me to capture the, yeah, the community and stuff. But I didn't have the idea of the, naturalization things, because it wasn't a thing in his life at this moment in
Right.
2020. But in 2021, 22, it became to be a thing in his life, in Gibran's life. And
Hmm.
that's when I was like, oh, it's interesting. This, I mean, it's a kind of a conflict in some way, because he was like thinking about leaving the neighborhood, leaving his friends, leaving the country he used to live in.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I thought it was very interesting to, yeah, to have this narrative, as a structure.
Hmm.
Um, and so I asked him, "Are you okay with being the main character?" And he was like,
Hmm.
"But there's no sense of making me the main character," because he was like, "My life is so shitty. What are you gonna show?" Like, I'm like, "No, I think it's very interesting. All the question you have, like, because they're very, in some way, they're very." Personal and very, from a point of view and everything, but I think it related in some way to my own experience. I mean, in another level, because I'm not an immigrant, I don't have this history, but I'm like, it's difficult to abandon the, Western dream in some way. Even for a French woman like me, I'm like, you're always like in this narrative that America is the best country. I mean, even in France, we have a lot of American movies, and I think
Hmm.
it's you're always kind of trapped, even in your life, even in the decision you take. Um, you're trapped in this, ideology in some way. There's good thing inside, but bad things inside, and when it becomes to be like, imperialistic and everything, I think it's the problem.
Hmm.
And so in the film, I tried. So that's why there is those three levels: the friendship thing, this structure of, him, and his own question, the process with the naturalization, and my own process looking at this country, filming this country, and trying to, um, how do you say this, when a spell is cast and you need to break it, to break
Mm,
the spell in some way.
mm,
And it was the idea to film those images, but trying to find the kind of the essence of what are those images I was looking for in the landscape, in this American landscape that has been filmed a lot in a lot of movies. And yeah, that was like the idea, the main, yeah, narrative idea in some way.
hmm. Yeah, and I'm curious about like the editing process and how long that took you, and if you kind of had it in mind in some way already, or if there was a lot of trial and error. Because I mean, it's just yeah, it's so beautiful and it's so cool the way that like you're saying, there are these visual images that we've seen many times, some version of,
Mm,
but the way that you place them really evokes, like new thoughts about them.
mm,
And even for me, like living in Los Angeles, there were pieces of the landscape that I found familiar, but sort of through your eyes, unfamiliar. So I'm curious how you kind of thought about like what to me really feels like a big puzzle, but you put it together in a
mm.
way that it doesn't draw attention to itself.
Yeah, yeah. um the editing wasn't very long. We had like I mean, no, it was okay. It was like 1 month,
Oh my
something
God.
like this.
That's,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I had like very few footages,
Mm, yeah.
only 3 hours. So it's like it's nothing. um so it was pretty easy. And I had at the beginning, I had a kind I wrote like a structure, but and we tried to make this structure at the beginning, and I don't know, we abandoned it um at some point. And Alix Tulip, the editor, had this idea of like having those small experimental moments with like images, and she really tried to yeah, to construct this very subtle transition between a narrative moment and like images, experimental images linked to my point of view and linked to the
Mhm,
landscape, the American history. And but I think what helped me a lot also was that between each uh, shooting, like 2021, 2022, 2023, I had moments with all the people I wanted to work with, especially the editor and the sound editor too,
mhm,
and my sound engineer. And I would like project the images, and we would talk about like all together, even in the pre shooting process.
mhm,
And and it helped me a lot to think, yeah, to think the structure before editing. It wasn't editing, but it was like thinking about it, thinking about the sound we should catch too. Yeah, the sound is a very, I think it helps a lot to make those images go somewhere else than those images you see all the time.
mhm,
And the sound editing took us more time than the image editing.
mhm,
So yeah, I think it's really related to sound. um,
mhm.
this thing you're talking about, this strange yeah, perception of those images.
Yeah, that makes sense. I imagine it helped a lot to be able to reflect in between trips, and then you would think about, what you wanted to shoot as
Mm,
well when you returned.
yeah.
Um, what was it about all the hands? Like the
Mm,
exchanging money and the palm reading,
mm.
and where did that come from?
um it came at the beginning because to prepare some scenes, some sequences, I I used to set up like a small moment in during which we would talk, but just with like a recorder, a sound
Mhm.
recorder, and we would talk about many subjects. And one of them was um, like destiny, like not destiny, but like how do you make decision in your life? And I was talking about my own experience. They were talking about their own experience, and Gibran said, oh, I really rely on my dreams or something like this, like. And he was like, I mean, that's what I really like in this character and in this person. He's very empirical, very in some way very rooted, but very yeah, metaphysical in some way, like.
Mhm.
um and so I think it came from him in some way. And I really wanted to have the palm reader thing because for me it was like a kind of a character of LA, the palm reader. Um, and after I was like, oh, it's interesting how hands could be seen as like this very poetic, metaphysical thing, like the lines and everything, but it's also um, yeah, like the your what you work with.
Mhm.
And there's some he says this at some point. Gibran said, "But isn't it just the way your hands fold?"
Mhm.
And I like this sentence because it's like
Yeah.
in this sentence you have like yeah, it's also he has like those lines because he works a lot too. So
Mhm.
it's like I don't know. I like this yeah this mirror between the hand of like the social yeah the yeah like of a worker and the hand of the destiny and
Mhm.
yeah and this was I mean it's difficult for me to explain it in English but that's
No,
the
it's
idea
great.
of yeah.
Yeah. Did Gibran end up moving back to Tecate, or is he still in LA?
He's 2 months after he moved to Tecate
Uh-huh.
after the last shooting.
Huh.
So in some way, I was like, oh, filming is kind of magical in some way. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not magical, but it's also it was a process for him and to talk about his own yeah perspective and we had a lot of conversation and I think in some way it helped to make a decision. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. How is he doing there? How's it going?
I think he's very good. I saw him again when I was in LA because after I went to, it was important for me to screen it in Mexico and to screen it
Mhm.
in Tijuana, Ensenada. And so I found small places that would yeah help me to screen the film. And so he came and he was very, I don't know, I felt him like very, I don't know, on the in the right place in some way. I don't know how to explain it, but he was looking good. I think he made the right choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
What is it? I mean, I can't imagine. It honestly seems so fun to me to make a movie like this and then show it to people in different places because
mm,
like the film itself obviously is about these mythologies of the United States
mm,
and the reality and like depending on who you are, I feel like it
mm,
could be a completely different movie. I mean, like these are not new concepts to me and the
mm.
speech at the naturalization ceremony is just like
Whoa.
it's like
Yeah.
not shocking to me, but it's also it's or I guess it's not surprising, but it is still sort of shocking in a weird way. And I'm just so curious like what people in Mexico think, what people in the US think versus people in Europe or like what has it been like to show it to people around the world?
Yeah, the it was a very interesting experience to screen it in LA and to screen it in Tijuana like 1 week after.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I have like a huge conversation in Ensenada. After the screening, we talked during maybe 1 hour, like a 1 hour debate on yeah, and all those question of immigration and dreams you're following, and you realize it's not the right dream.
Mhm.
And I don't know, in Mexico there were very like how to say this, like very, it was powerful in some way to have like a kind of model, like a character you can rely to.
Mhm.
and and also we had like this conversation about the fact that I wasn't living this life, and kind of the legi
Legitimacy.
yeah, legitimate to do this.
Uh-huh.
um and it was very interesting. It wasn't like judging or reproaching
Mhm.
something, but we had like this conversation about, is it possible to do this film as a white woman, and a European white woman, like
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a good conversation that I didn't have in Los Angeles, for example.
Mhm.
um, it was in Los Angeles, it was more about how I filmed the city in some way. And people were very curious about the places, or I don't know, about the city in itself,
Yeah.
more than in this, yeah, in this character specifically. And yeah, and in Europe, I don't know. Yeah, in Europe, we've been talking a lot about how this situation relate to new European situation too, and a French situation too, with the immigration
Mhm.
from Maghreb and Africa. And but I'm very happy because the film won a small prize in a small festival in Tunisia. So I was like,
Oh,
oh,
that's
it's
cool. Congratulations.
yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, I'm happy that
It resonated.
yeah,
Yeah.
it resonated also in Africa, also in other country that can have like this same kind of
Mhm.
history in some way, a very
Yeah,
different.
I mean it's so woven with like, you know, the diasporic kind of themes, like,
Mm,
and not even just for, I feel like folks from who are in Gibran's position, like from
mm,
Mexico. But I mean, yeah, it was hard for me not to think a lot after seeing it and meeting you and thinking about, like, I mean, we're talking about colonialism very early in the film, and there is so much conversation, in filmmaking these days about like who has the right to tell what story, and how we've been inundated for such a long time about people telling stories about communities that aren't theirs as outsiders, and I think your film, you can really feel like the closeness you have with the three main characters, and that it was made collaboratively. Like it really feels like that friendship is so obvious. But yeah, I'm curious how you're thinking about your role and coming in as a white French woman, like has evolved over the process of making it, and yeah.
yeah. Um, I don't know. I think to have they told me this, like to have a foreigner is also very helpful to, I don't know, to have like a distance with
Mhm.
your own perspective. And yeah, and the same way, on the same level for me, it was like as I told you at the beginning, it was I entered the city by those point of view, and it was yeah, in some way how I discovered this place. Um, And but yeah, as you said, um, I think the most important is the relationship you create with the people you film. If you're like in if you're like extracting, it's something bad. But if you're
Yeah.
like creating with some people and with a dialogue, I think anybody can do a film on something that he didn't live. And I think it's important to not to tell only our story, because imagine, like, most of the people are white, they will tell only their own story. And I mean, it's also like cinema is a dialogue, is not and I
Yeah.
really like to. Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult work because you have to take care a lot. You have to ask yourself a lot of questions on your position. So it's challenging to do
Mhm.
a film on other people and on other point of view. But but I think it's what I like to do in cinema, is share a point of view. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you really pull off, avoiding a lot of traps
Mm,
of that kind of outsider documentarian kind of
mm,
trope. Okay, we should wrap in a second, but I did want to ask you because you mentioned this at the beginning that you previously didn't really think of yourself as a filmmaker, that
mhm.
you're making other kinds of art. And so, I don't know. I just wonder, like, do you want to make more films? What did filmmaking teach you about, being an artist in general? How has that journey been?
I think I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, but I don't know. I couldn't. I don't know. It was a huge journey
It's
to
very
to.
daunting.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a lot of work, but yeah, I really want to do another film and another. I'm writing a feature now, which is, yeah, a mix between documentary and fiction. And it's gonna take place in Marseille, kind of Marseille, Barcelona, and the Mediterranean area. So I think this film helped me to see my own country, and to see, because it's always very difficult to film your own country, to film your own places. And I think it helped me to realize what I wanted to catch in my own experience. In some way, it's not about me, it's about other character. But yeah, that's the idea, to explore something, a place I live in. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Cool. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'll be the first in line. Uh,
Yeah, it's
cool. Well,
gonna be
thank
a
you.
long time, I tell
Yeah.
you. It takes
That's
time.
okay. That's okay. Great art takes time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
letting us
you.
watch our film and talking to me. And yeah, I hope our audiences will, keep following you and recommend the film to anyone you can. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.